everyone. I am so excited for this session. I have hit the conference jackpot because I can't think of a woman I admire more than Jo. I could take up all our time just introducing her with all her awards. There's so many, I can't count them. I don't know where she puts them all. She's also a global creative leader. She's the founder of Good Girls Eat Dinner. And she really walks the walk on what it means to be an inclusive leader. She was on the Creative Equals and Campaign Future Leaders list, which just shows how powerful that list is. So Jo's agreed to answer 10 or so quick fire questions, which I'm gonna go through because she has so much wisdom to share. And I'm not gonna dwell on this, but before we kick off, I really want you to have the final word, because despite being a multi-award winning creative leader, you've also made the headlines for taking the Daily Mail to court and winning. I think that deserves a round of applause. Yeah. And the way you handled that situation, appalling situation, misogyny directed towards you, really inspired so many people. And I don't want to spout some bollocks about silver linings, because you should never have to go through that in the first place. But how did you cope with that?
First of all, hello everybody. If it looks like I'm getting emotional, I'm not. It's just I have hay fever. So yeah, how did I cope with that? Well, I'm not going to lie. I mean, dealing with those horrendous lies that were written about me and the death threats that then ensued was probably the worst thing I've ever had to deal with, and my wife ever had to deal with. But, you know, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger, and I just want to thank everybody who supported me. It was just amazing to read all of the messages that I received, and, you know, the win, I hope, has really kind of inspired others and given others hope that you can kind of take on these huge misogynistic corporations and you can win. So yeah, I guess I just like to think it's behind me and it didn't kill me and I'm now much stronger.
Okay, with that behind you, I just really want to talk about your work. Your work is phenomenal. I mean, you've created, also prolific. You create so much impactful work. I can barely get through my email inbox. I mean, this is some amazing work that you created for the National Centre for Domestic Violence whilst at Wunderman Thompson. Really, really impactful work. Phenomenal. This Abusers Always Work From Home, created in lockdown. These are just really, really, really powerful campaigns. And, you know, the question is a simple one. It's how do you do it? How do you go about getting the best work out of your teams?
Yeah, and I think that is really important to kind of point out that I didn't personally do all of this alone. I mean, I certainly drove a lot of this, but I worked with some incredible teams, a small but incredible team to get this work out while I was at Wunderman Thompson. And I guess there's like many things that as a creative leader you hope you're doing to make sure that your team are getting the best work out. But I guess a couple of things, trying to be quick about it, is one, I really listen. So I like to think that teams enjoy working with me because I genuinely listen to their ideas. And actually sometimes the ideas that they're presenting, it's the way that they speak about an idea that is the best thing and not the idea itself. So sometimes you kind of need to go, hang on a minute, what you said there, that's the idea, that's what we're going to work with and move forward. And then obviously supporting that as we do go forwards. And I like to think that I absolutely will do everything I can to get the best work out. And every single piece of impactful work I've created, I've had to go over and above. The team has had to go over and above to get it out there so that you guys can actually see it and react.
And you can really see that in the work itself, but is it for you impact or awards?
So definitely impact. I think if you go for impact, then that's the best thing to do. People that chase awards, it's a kind of pointless, weird endeavor. If you happen to get awards, which a lot of this work did, that's the excellent icing on the cake. But I'd far rather create work that has an impact for a client than work that just kind of wins an award but nobody ever saw or cared about.
And what's the main thing that you've learned as a creative leader?
I've learnt many things. A few things spring to mind. So the first thing is that you're only going to create work that's as good as the client is brave. So obviously you need a brave client to create amazing work. Secondly, as already mentioned, you're kind of only going to be as good as your teams. And one thing I always really like to try and remember and remind myself, no matter how hard things get, is that your best work is always ahead of you.
I love that. That's such a beautiful sentiment. Okay, TikTok or traditional media?
So I'll take the easy route and I'll say both, because I've created campaigns that have covered traditional and TikTok, and they've worked together and made an amazing result for the client. And then I've also had, I mean, in the case of a lot of the posters for, say, the NCDV, real life people have actually taken pictures and shared them on their socials. So I think basically if an idea has impact and it's powerful, then it will gain traction across any channel.
And what's the main ingredient of creating groundbreaking work? Because you've created a lot, you've got a disproportionate amount of it in your creative portfolio.
I think I'm going to have to say something that we've all heard many times before, but bravery. I think hundreds of ideas are presented every day. Many of them die on their arse because there isn't enough bravery.
And what do you think is the most underutilized or underrated skill in inclusive leadership?
I think I would have to say empathy, and by that I mean being able to truly understand and share the feelings of our audience. And we have a truly diverse audience, and sadly I think the stats still show that creative departments aren't reflecting the diversity of society, and without those diverse perspectives and opinions and insights, I slightly wonder how we expect to create work that truly resonates with all of us.
It's a really powerful point. We've got lots of stats, and I could just tell you some of those stats, but we know that the Great Resignation and that the burnout of COVID has disproportionately impacted women. Has anyone in the audience felt overwhelmed at any point in the last 2 years? Anyone had that feeling? And that overwhelm and that burnout, it's leading to a large, disproportionate percentage of women leaving the industry. What's your message to them?
Don't go. We need you. We need your diverse points of view, your diverse experience, your minds, your ways of working. Just please don't go. I can understand that it's difficult sometimes, but please stay. We need you.
We do need you. And actually our question that we sourced from Twitter really fits into that theme, and it is a very simple one, but what advice would you give to women starting their career in the industry today?
I think be yourself. Bring all of you to work. I think when I first began in this industry, I slightly hid who I was a little bit to very begin with. I felt like I had to fit in. And actually, if you do find yourself being the minority in the room, then that's no bad thing sometimes. Like, use it to your strength, because actually it's all the more reason to speak out, because your opinion needs to be heard, because you're representing a group that unfortunately isn't represented as much. So definitely be yourself and stand up for yourself and be confident and voice your opinions.
That's such good advice, and you mentioned that your best work is still ahead of you, which I love that sentiment. So what is next for you?
Well, I've recently accepted a job as a global ECD, so I'm really excited to go forward.
Thank you so much, Jo.
Thank you.
That was just a quick fire round of questions, I know, but I know we throw around the word bravery a lot in this industry, but you are very brave.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Very talented.
Thank you.